Welcome back, YouTube. Nick here with a really cool video for you today. We will be doing all the preparation and finish grading for our new pole barn. If you're a fan of the channel, you've probably seen our existing barn in the background of our videos. We've been running out of space, so it's time for a second one. After a lot of planning, we decided to put it behind the existing pole barn. One of the key things here is it'll have a lower floor height so we can go to a 10-foot door with the same roof line. When we bought this property, there was a stable and shed in this location. So when the first barn was built, there wasn't much preparation needed as we just tore down the stable. For this second one, we're going to need to cut back the hillside and build out a clay pad for the pole barn. This process took us a lot of hours, doing this one weekend, 4 or 5 hours of work at a time. It really turned out great, so let's jump in. To build the barn, we're cutting back this hill on the left. So the first thing we need to do is remove a few trees, and then we'll begin moving some dirt.
Deep are big on that thing.
Now that we've removed those trees and stumps, we can begin cutting back the hill. Our goal here is to be able to drive on both sides of the barn, so we're going to need to cut back the base and put a new slope on. We also need a source for clay to build the new barn's pad. We bought this place to build the moto compound of our dreams, so we'll conveniently use the extra dirt for the landing on our freestyle ramp. If you like dirt bike and moto content, definitely give us a subscribe. Alright, enough talking about it. Time to start moving dirt. This day is coming to an end. As you can see, we've made a dent in the project, but there's a lot of dirt still left to move. Checking back in, we have another partial day of work completed. We usually only get 4 to 5 hours of run time depending on what else we're doing. We've gotten a lot more dirt moved out, but we still need to get the base of the hill cut back more before we worry about building the pad. Alright, after another day of work, we've made some serious progress. The area is almost flat and the hill is cut back substantially. You can see that cone on the ground with a small flag next to it. That marks the end of the new barn, so we still have a little bit more removal to go. We also need to get the hill lower than the ground that the barn will be on, so we don't ever have a water drainage problem. We have one more day of digging out the hill, and then it'll be time to build the pad. If you've made it this far, we're back for another day and it's time to start building the pad. We'll start off by shooting grade for the area. As I mentioned before, we had to do a lot of math because the rear barn is going to have the same roof line but a lower floor height. We did this so we could move to a 10-foot door now that we have some bigger equipment. To accommodate this, we need to have the rear barn 1 foot below the existing barn. If we add in 6 inches of concrete and 4 inches for gravel, our target height for the pad is 22 inches below the existing barn's floor. To get to that height, we'll need to fill almost 3 feet in the furthest corner from the barn. Luckily, we'll be using some fine locally sourced clay from the hill right here. The extension on the barn is only 24 by 30, but we're making the pad significantly larger. Then once it is completed, we'll come back and finish grade how we see fit. To build the pad, we'll be taking 4 to 6 inch layers of clay, spreading them out evenly and then rolling them in with the backhoe. We fill up the loader bucket with a big scoop every single time we roll it in, and we should have around 8.5 tons of weight. All right, we're back on a fresh day. You can see there's a ton of flags down. We shot some grade this morning and marked how many more inches we need to go in each location. You can also see Dylan here is pouring on this side slope. We have an existing trail that goes down and into the lower pasture. We're going to need to fill in that trail some and make it slope down and around the new existing pad. Once we get the barn built, we'll cut back the hillside and finish this road. All right, we're back out here the next morning, and like every day, working on the pad, we start off by shooting grade. Overall, everything is looking good. There's a few low spots we need to quickly fill in. We will then shoot grade on the area coming out of the barn and down the trail at the base of the hill. You can see the down ramp for our freestyle setup in the background. We need a little bit more clay, so we are going to strip the black dirt off the top of this area. We will then steal a little bit of clay before bringing that black dirt back in and throwing some grass seed on it. Okay, we stole a little bit more clay out of the road and filled in these low spots, got everything rolled in. We will pull out the laser and shoot grave one more time, really focused on that corner edge of the barn and making sure the slope down the side is really flat. You can see a ton of flags over there. We'll have to add quite a bit more dirt and give everything one more roll in. We've finished another day of work and the pad is looking amazing. The next thing we'll do when we come back out here is start taking away dirt at that top side next to the barn because we have the rest of the pad to the height we want it. If you've stuck it out this far, we have finally got the pad built for the new barn. Those white stakes are about where the corners of the new barn will be. You can see it's nice and flat. It's plus or minus 1 inch across the entire surface of the barn. We built it out extra far because we're having a concrete apron poured. So once we're done with everything, we'll come back and finish grade it to its final form. We do have a little bit more cleanup to do in front of the backhoe, and we're going to build out the right side of the pad, that little path around, so the builders have plenty of room to get by. And then once we're done with everything, we'll make it the final shape. Okay, we have completed all of the earthwork and it is time to get the builders out. Boom, they're here. It's a few weeks later. It's finally time to get the barn constructed. We have a few different clips. I had a trail cam up and it's not aimed very great, but I also got some drone shots and iPhone clips. Enjoy the build. I'll be back once she's done.
Yep.
All right, you've stuck it out and now you've seen it. The mega barn is complete. Overall, we have a 24 by 60 shop with an 8-foot door in the front and a 10-foot door in the rear. It still needs the door to be hung, and we're having that concrete apron poured next week. But for now, it looks fantastic. I'm super happy with the build quality. It matched up really great, and we've had 0 issues. You probably noticed we don't have a regular door on the rear barn. We cut a doorway in between them once the rear door is installed, and we always plan for this. Then the rear shop, we can use the space in any configuration and don't have to worry about an entryway that never gets used. This definitely isn't the best shot, but here you can see that doorway. Many of you are probably wondering how much these barns cost, and I'm happy to break it down to you. We went with a pole barn because it's cheaper than a garage. Our original barn we got in 2016 and it cost $14,500. This included a 4-inch pad, $500 in site prep, as well as 2 loads of gravel. This new barn cost us $19,300. $1,300 of this went towards gravel, and fortunately we were able to do the site prep. Because we had to cut back the hill so much, it would have cost a lot more. We did burn quite a bit of diesel, but we were also stacking our down ramp. Okay, the barn may be finished, but we still have some work to do. We're back out here the next weekend and the apron is poured, so we are going to start to finish grade around the barn. We made the pad extra big so there's plenty to come out. We'll start by trimming back this edge so we have about a 1-foot shelf next to the barn. This will allow us to make this path as close to the barn as possible, but also not have a really steep hillside that's unmanageable. The left side of the barn looks really good, so now time to work on the right. With this side, we need to be super conscious of drainage from the hill, so our low point needs to be real close to that hill base. We will come in and scrape it out and then dig through on this side to make it lower, but we aren't going to make this side super nice and clean like the other. Here's a sneak peek at a future project where we actually ran power down to our barns and we had to tear up this side because we also ran a water line. We knew this was coming in the future, so we only roughed that side in. That was quick and easy, so back to the front. We spray painted a line about 10 feet from the existing concrete, so we have a decently flat section if we need to park anything or roll anything outside. We are then going to slope down to the path elevation. We want to make this pretty gradual. We don't want anything steep coming in and out, but we also need to make sure the path arc in the turning radius is fine for with a trailer. All right, we have finished graded this entire area. There's just a little bit more of powdery clay to pull out. We do need to come back and coat everything with black dirt, but I'm super happy with the shape of things. Everything slopes and drains well, and we have plenty of dirt for our FMX down ramp. The next thing we are going to do is gravel this right-hand side of the barn. Eventually, we'll gravel the left-hand side too, but as I mentioned, we're going to run utilities over there. So we'll start with this side. We had enough gravel left over to do this area, so we threw down some road fabric and spread it out. Okay, we got the rock down and it looks really good. We have more than enough left over to do this entire path. We stopped in line with the concrete apron on the front because we're going to put some railroad tie steps there in on the clay, and the gravel will end where the steps go. Now that we've completed this, we'll start trucking black dirt in and begin coating the entire area. It is finally done. You have joined us on a journey. We spent over 19 different days moving dirt. We started this project in November and wrapped it up in August of last year. I've had a ludicrous amount of video to sort through, and this has been a painful project, which is why it took so long. The barn, though, was an amazing addition, and getting that extra 24 by 30 space has worked out great. As I mentioned, we ended up running utilities, which has been a nice add, so watch that video in the future. If you enjoyed this long form style video or just the video in general, we love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below. As I mentioned before, we are a motocross channel, so be on the lookout for more content. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.